Hi everyone, welcome to the workshop. Um, this is Daydream, and today we will be going to do the character window project file breakdown. If you want, you can get the project files here. So I'll leave that up for a few minutes, and then hopefully everyone can download it. If you join late, that's okay. You can always get the download file within our Discord. So yeah, don't worry if you missed it. So while we're waiting, a little bit about Daydream. So yeah, a little bit about Daydream. So the first few things is that, well, we are a community of creative technologists, and we are just people who are, artists, builders, centered around real-time AI, mainly stream diffusion. I'm someone who works a lot in Touch Designer, and if you know anything about Touch Designer, you'll know that there's a pretty popular plugin called Stream Diffusion TD. Stream Diffusion TD is basically just how to run real-time AI within Touch Designer, and yeah, usually people use them for installations or just like personal projects. And one of the caveats of Stream Diffusion, though, is that it requires a very high-end PC, or more specifically, a very high-end GPU. I use a $2,000, $3,000 laptop, and when I run Stream Diffusion, it basically tanks my Touch Designer FPS to around like 20 FPS. So even when you do have a really high-end laptop, it's a very expensive process to run. So Daydream comes in and is actually a great workaround of that bottleneck. And that's just going to be that we have a server-hosted Stream Diffusion. And so you can offload a lot of the GPU usage, and you can spend more time focusing on your actual workflow rather than trying to like figure out where to cut off. Figuring out where to cut off to make sure that your project runs in like, I don't know, at least 30 FPS. If you want to join our Discord, or sorry, I mean, you guys are already here, but if anyone's watching the recording, if you want to join our Discord, you'll be able to access the Stream Diffusion TD version, which I'll be showing off today. And that's going to be a component that it's within Touch Designer. And if you want to join, you can join it. Like, you can message Eric, and then he will put you on the wait list, and we'll be slowly rolling out the keys for that. And if you don't want to wait, I'll also be going through a workaround, because there's also the Daydream website, which is Stream Diffusion, but basically on your web browser, which is also pretty awesome. And you can also bring that back into Touch Designer. But yeah, so, this is for the Daydream API. If you want to create your own little apps or workflows, so definitely scan that. And then, yeah, so this is going to be the Daydream stuff. You can keep that around, but I will first go through the Touch Designer workflow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Hopefully everyone can see this. So, what to expect from this workshop? So first of all, thank you so much for joining. You'll get the project file for free, just from like being here, or just like you can just get it from our Discord. But essentially, the point of this is not really to teach you how to make something from scratch, but more so to really get you guys like excited about what kind of workflows actually can exist using different real-time AI tools and just Touch Designer tools in general. Touch Designer is a really great medium. I think of it like a glue that kind of connects different input sources and can output it anywhere. And this is fantastic because real-time AI, you're thinking about it from like a perspective of like, oh, there's so many places to get sources from, like video, music, different inputs, right? And then you can also, send that off to like different locations, and like Touch Designer does a great job helping you work it. So I'm going to be going through the tools that I use to create this project. Another thing is it's a demonstration of the server-hosted Stream Diffusion services and how much of an improvement it is in terms of quality, and also like in terms of image quality, as well as FPS and just like overall GPU usage. And then lastly, this is basically so that you guys can hopefully find a very good hub to like learn how to create things in Touch Designer using Stream Diffusion, or outside of Touch Designer. You can share your own projects. You can get help with other people, all within Daydream. Our Discord channel, I will be there. I love to teach. I love to help out. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask me. But yeah. Anyways. Yeah, let's get started, shall we? Yeah, this is the project that I'm going to be doing today. And yeah, so when you download this project file, let me just fix that real quick. Boop. Boop. Okay. And then I turn off this like so. Okay. So when you first download this project file, there's going to be a few things. If it does work, you'll have to put in your own media pipe plugin. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can download it yourself off of Torin's Patreon. So it's just going to be a GitHub, but you can basically find it from, let me see. Here, I'll do this one. So this is Torin. Torin creates the media pipe plugin for Touch Designer, and you can watch a lot of his projects. They're all tutorials, and you can learn a lot about how media pipe works. And what media pipe is essentially, if I turn on my overlay right here, it is a body tracking, hand tracking, pose tracking, real-time AI tool. And so this allows you to track your finger gestures, your movements. And for this project, right, what I did was I used the pinch. And so from here, you have, so what I did was I took my left hand, and it's getting these two fingers right here, and it's getting the distance. So you see, this is the distance. When it's higher, it increases. And it's also getting the midpoint and the Y point. So you can see like that. Now, I'm also getting my nose tip because that's my face, like so. And the reason why this is important is because those are basically the main two components of my Stream Diffusion project. And so this is the Stream Diffusion component right here. This is going to, when you download it, it's going to be available off of Dot Simulate's Patreon. Unfortunately, it's paid, so we can't just like give it out for you guys for free. But it's only $5, and you get it for life. So yeah, but this is the Daydream version, which is server hosted. But basically, my project is two things. Number one is that it's tracking my nose position, so it follows my head. And number two is that it's checking my pinch position right here, and it's reacting to when my hand is around here, like so. And when I move it up and down, yeah, it's a bit glitchy sometimes, but overall, I would say it's a lot. It's a great resource compared to needing to carry a Kinect or spending a lot of money on a Leap Motion, which are usually around like $100 to $200. But yeah, so essentially, I'm gonna go through my MediaPipe plugin stuff first. So this project can be broken up into a few parts. Number one is the MediaPipe gesturing, right, and the nose part. The number two is the stream diffusion and the prompting. And so another part of it is that it takes the MediaPipe information, and whenever my Y moves up a certain level, it will switch the prompt, like so. And so you can see it here. I have a reveal amount that is mapped to how high this little knob is. And this is basically off of my midpoint Y. And so from here, whenever I move it to a higher amount, like so, it increases. So now it's at 7, like so. And this is like 8, and so on and so forth. So now, here we go. Right here is the pinch location and distance, like so. So what I'm doing here is I'm having all of my data right here, right? And it's doing a few things. Number one is it's basically normalizing my pinch location, like so. That's for my Y, so that when it's underneath this like circle right here, it goes to 0, and then when it's above the top of my rectangle, it's 1. For my X, what it's doing is it's making sure that it's making sure two things. So number one is it's making sure that I am above this area right here, which is around 0.1. So if I look at this expression right here, 0.1. And then it's also checking that my value is not less than 0.2. So basically, when my midpoint is around 0.1 and 0.2, both of these are going to be green. And it's basically doing a check. And the last check is for my pinch distance, like so. But when all three of these are on, this logic will turn 1. And this is controlling a hold. And a hold basically is a operator that allows you to basically, when I'm here, right, when this is 0, this hold, make sure that my Y is holding on to that 0 value. But once I'm on 1, like so, then, yeah, it's saying, okay, well, we're no longer holding it. We can let it move. And then if I move it away from here, ooh, now I'm half of a AI generated thing. So yeah, so that's the MediaPipe for my hands, and then this is the video input and square size position. So right here, I have my input resolution and my input resolution, and then a square size. And so what this tool that I made does is that it basically crops a percentage of my screen and into a square. And so it's taking 20% of the area of the width and also like 20% pre-aspect corrected of the height. And so that when I aspect correct both of them, I get 20% of like a square. Yeah, and what I mean by aspect corrected is like multiplying it by 16 by 9, because it's a rectangular square, or rectangle. Yeah, and then so if I increase this, I can get a bigger square. But the important part is that it's always within the mid, like the square is always following my nose tip. And it's basically tracking my square. And so in here, I'm doing all of the mathematics for it. You guys don't really need to know that. I did that for you. But yeah, essentially, you end up getting the amount that you need to crop on both sides of your X. So we need to crop 466 this way, 466 that way. And then for this one, we have to crop 46 pixels this way, 46 pixels this way. And then that's how I get a little square. And yeah, you can change it here whenever you want. But I like 0.2. And so, well, what do we do with it? So basically we have our, let's bring this down again. I want something fun. So we have our video input, right? And we flip it. And so we fit it to make sure that it's our resolution that we want. And then we can treat this as an input. And so what I built here is the cropper. And so this cropper is just taking my square, right? And then this square is just being overlaid, right? So when it's just my square, right, I'm overlaying this over my face. So there's like almost no difference, right? Or there's no difference at all, because basically my transform, or the way that I'm transforming my my input image and the way that I'm transforming what I cropped is exactly the same. And so you can see this a bit more closer if I had another transform. And for this one, I like turn down. So yeah, basically I'm putting the same image over the my input image. And this makes it so look like I'm just having an original image. And then so what I can do from there is, well, I can do the exact same method here. So this method right here, where I was cropping and making sure that it's centered in my face, I can do the exact same thing over here. And this is with my AI input, like so. And so for this one, when I do that, I basically have two rectangles that are the exact same size, like so. And it basically disappears with this rectangle that I created. So this rectangle right here, it's like a mask, basically. So when it's down this way, then it's all gone. But when it's here, like so, the rectangle makes it come back up, and then again, like so. Now, before I get into the AI component stuff, what I want to do is I want to go through a bit of the prompting. And so for what I did is that for all of my prompts, I had 3 categories, and you can switch through all of them. But you can go through, like, my first one I think is like celebrities. Yeah. My second one is like fictional creatures, fictional creatures that we just saw. And the third one is like animal concepts. Oof, jeez. Yeah. And so the way that you can easily generate these is that these are all comma separated lists. So yeah, CSVs, and you can easily get a CSV simply by going into ChatGPT. Actually, yeah, you know how to use ChatGPT. So you can go into ChatGPT, and then you can be like, I was like, okay, generate a 100 list, generate a CSV of 100 like different like ideas following blank, and then what you can do is you can just you can download that file, and then you can just drag it in, and so from there you get a bunch of different prompts that you can use. And so when you have this prompt list that you can take from, you can use this command down here to essentially choose. And what this is doing is it's choosing the this number right here, which is like, for example, if I were to do like 1 0, this is taking the first, or I guess the second, because tables start from 0. So it'd be the first row of the second row of the first column, like so. And so this would be Direwolf. If I were to do something like 2, or like if I were to do something like 5, then it'd be like Fantasy Owl, like so. And then instead of it being just like a manually entered thing, I ended up just putting it through this original system that I had right here. Okay. Cool. Any questions so far? Oh, the files? Sorry, these prompts? Oh, the prompt formula? Yeah, sure. Let me just type that out. Yeah, that's basically it. Maybe you could be more specific about it, but like some of them aren't that great. Or like some of the ideas are like they're kind of repetitive. So like 100 is like overkill. It's like, but like you could also just like think about it. Ooh, that I don't like that. But yeah. Okay. Anyways, so the next thing that I want to go through is Stream Diffusion. Okay, so this is the Daydream hosted Stream Diffusion. So a few things that is really great about this. Number one is that if you've ever used Stream Diffusion, you know that it usually runs only on like 8 FPS, like at best. This is running at 22. And something else that you'll notice is that my frame rate is going from between like 45 to like 40 to like 50. It's like it's going up and down, but it's above 30 the entire time, which is pretty good. And so this is what is so good about server hosted Stream Diffusion. Another thing that's really good is that if you go into the control nets, is that now we have multi-control net support. And so this is great because now we have, if you go through it, we have color, depth, canny, HUD, open pose. And I would say that Depth, OpenPose, and Kenny are great for most of your projects that are going to require like some sort of facial recognition. So if I turn everything down, and if I go into my steps function as well. Okay. So when I turn everything down, you'll notice that like there's like it's just kind of doing its own thing. It's generating a really good yak, but it doesn't follow my face. So oh yes, I can do that. It's also in the file. It's also right here. So this thing right here, you will just have to type that into the prompt. It's the exact same thing. But I can also just copy and paste it here. Yeah. Okay, so these control nets, right? I would say like the best way to figure things out to get the best quality is to just experiment by yourself, starting from 0. And so you can go from I'm gonna do a quick rundown of this because we can do it together on Daydream. But like, you can really see how much it improves simply just by, increasing these. And so like, if it's an animal concept, right, maybe you don't want too much control net because then it starts to look a little bit too much like my face. Like it's kind of picking up the my glasses. But if I were to switch my concept to something like these guys, so now it's doing a really good job of making sure that yeah. See, now I'm Yeti with glasses. And if you don't want too much of it, you can always turn things down. But play around with it yourself, and then you can find what works for you. But yeah. Now, of course, obviously, not everyone is going to be able to have Stream Diffusion, the Daydream hosted Stream Diffusion, which is okay, because that's why we have this website called Daydream Playground. And there's actually a way for us to be able to get Daydream Playground into Touch Designer. And so here's the playground. And you guys can join it through this link. And once you're here, this is basically Stream Diffusion TD, but on a web browser. And one thing that it has is it has a camera option, like so, right? Now, they have their own control nets, which are the exact same as the Stream Diffusion TD version. And what is also great about this version is that, so right here, what I'm doing is I'm essentially bringing my video feed here, right? Putting it in, cropping it, and then getting this square tracked image of my face. What I ended up finding out is that you can do this exact same thing with your video feed, and then you can pipe it into something called NDI out. And NDI out, what it does is, well, if you see, this is taking, Daydream is taking my video feed from my webcam. And NDI out is a tool that Touch Designer you can use in Touch Designer, where it basically pretends it changes any sort of input into a webcam feed. And so, well, what does that mean? Well, right now, this video input right here, it's not tracking my face. It's only like, it's not really trying to like keep my face centered. It's only just like, like taking the space that it is. But this version right here is the same thing as the one that uses my my overlaying trick. And so, well, with NDI webcam, and you can download NDI webcams on NDI tools. Before I forget, it's pretty easy to set up. It's for Windows and Mac. And so the way that you can set it up is when you download it, you're gonna get something called NDI. You can open it. When you open it, you get this webcam option. And from this webcam option, you'll click it. And once you click it, it will be in this little corner right here. And you'll be able to right click it and open it. And so the NDI, what it does is, so if I go back into here, this is something called an NDI out. And well, what an NDI out does, right, is it takes in a source name. It takes in a video input and a source name. And then this source name, you can find it. You can find it from this option right here. So this is face, right? Sorry. Yeah, this is face. This is also named face. Now, another thing that you can do is you can also, well, like, you can get multiple. You can end up getting 4. So if I add something like noise, like so, put that into this. I can name this noise. And then from there, you can go into here. And look at that. Now you have this one as a webcam too. And so essentially what it does is it allows you to pipe anything, any sort of visual that you have that you make in any sort of, like, if you're making anything, you can use NDI outs to bring it into your webcam. And that's really great because, well, now if you have a service like Daydream that is required to, that has a feature that can take in a camera input, well, you can change your camera input to be whatever it is that you want. So here, my webcam video is just my noise, but if I go into my camera, you should be able to, oh, you have to manage it from here. So yeah, for Chrome, you actually have to like go manage it into the settings. But in the settings, you can do like webcam video 2, like so, and then you just have to refresh. And once you refresh, yeah, now you have your webcam being just this weird image, which is like kind of boring, but you know, you can animate it now. Like you could go into, you can go into your touch designer and you can animate that noise here. And so now you get this little animation. Regardless, you know, the point of that being is that now I have a way to use this webcam in a more specific way. And so now I can go into my webcam video 1 and then refresh like so. Yeah, now we have the specially cropped version that I was using in Touch Designer. And so now I have this, I can use the AI here instead of using the Stream Diffusion TD one that not everyone might have. Okay, I don't know why this isn't loading. No. Okay, well, How long does it take? I'm not entirely sure. I think we're trying to increase the rollout of it to be a bit more. But you can definitely ask Eric for more specifics. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so from here, I don't know. We can do the exact same thing where they give us some parameters to play with, but the best thing I think is for people to turn off everything and then try to build their own parameters that will work. And so let's look for a prompt that we want to use in here. Let's go like alien invader. And so from here, we can type in the prompt at the bottom right here. And so with everything off, we get almost nothing one-to-one. And so we can use the denoise and the control nets to let the AI pick up on characteristics of our face. And so when it comes to something that's like face, it's really important to have a pretty high pose because pose recognizes your hands. But it's also really important for you to get depth in there as well, because then you get a bit more of your facial structure, like a 3D structure. So as I increase that, there we go. And then also, like, Canny helps a lot with recognizing your face as well. Canny kind of takes in the edges of your face, so like glasses, like your face circle, the hair, your hair, and then HUD is for like smaller details, and also color. Color just takes in, well, your color palette, like so. And then so when you have that done, what you might want to do afterwards, control nets do most of the heavy lifting now in terms of making sure that your input adheres to the output. So if you've used the old Stream Diffusion 2D where you can only use one control net, the step size was really important to making sure that most of your input gets into your output. But now denoise is more so to just make sure that you have, I would say, like a bit more consistency, or like a little less like blurriness. But yeah. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have this, right, what we've done is we've piped in our Touch Designer workflow into our website. And now we need to figure out a way to bring that back. And so what you can do, and this is best with two monitors, just because of how Touch Designer's screen grab works. But let me see. But yeah, so now that we have that, we do have a screen grab option down here, and you can just refresh the sources, and I already have it as Daydream Google Chrome. And what the crop I did, right, is I want to crop it this way and then also this way, right? And so what I did was I did the crop amount of this side is going to match the crop amount of the right side. So now whenever I crop it, it's going to go like symmetrically. And so I just crop the square of it, and I want it to fit to be the exact same size as my crop. So I grab a fit and I put the same width into here. And now, so I have the same functionality. The only issue though is that this version doesn't change your prompt as you move, but it's a good workaround if you want to like I guess, use a multi-control net in Touch Designer. Like we can do something like this. And so, yeah. And all of this, it happens live. So while you're playing around with it, you can change up a lot of your parameters and, really have a little bit more experimentation. I would say the trickiest part about multi-control or like the stream diffusion stuff now is trying to figure out how each of the control nets work. But if you're ever confused, because it's multi-control nets use the characteristics of your input. So depending on what kind of input you have, the output, the control nets will require different amounts of tweaking. Luckily, though, there's a way in Daydream to actually save parameters. So when you have something that ends up working, that you really do enjoy, you can scroll down here and you can save it. And say you have a specific work case or something. Then you can go so la 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 whatever, And yeah. And so why and so one thing that oh no. Why did it crash? Okay, well. Oh, my screen grab broke. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get that back. That's okay. Make sure to save, guys. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Let me go back into this one. Okay. Hey yo. Okay. Yeah. So let's do zombie. Yeah. And so yeah, you can bring it back into Touch Designer. Sorry about that. And you can get the same. Oh, there we go. Same functionality as before. I would say that, and a reason why you might want to do this is because there we go. In Touch Designer, a reason why you might want to do this is that in Touch Designer, there's a lot more that you can do with your images afterwards. There's a lot of post-processing options in Touch Designer that you might want to use. One of the biggest ones that I think is very good is the upscaler. The upscaler is something that is kind of locked behind GPUs. So if you have a MacBook, you might not be able to use something like this. But what it allows you to do is that it can bring up the source quality. And so right now, my quality is only 644. I can upscale it to all the way up to 120, 1288. And yeah. Now, even though it's a bit bigger, I can still do the same thing where I want to fit it afterwards. Like so. But this should just give you a higher quality image. And so if you just stay in Daydream, you might not be able to do something like that. Another reason why you might want to do something is that like maybe you want to do something like Neon. Maybe you want to do something more like Neon, like this. And well, what you can do as well is that you can also add like visual effects, like bloom or something like that, you know, and you can make it bright and colorful and, you know, really enhance the look of your visual. Because right now, you know, essentially, like Daydream is great because you're offloading a bunch of GPU usage, but there's still a lot of stuff that you can do in Touch Designer that can help you, I guess, make more compelling visuals. Right? This Daydream tool is just another portion of. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, the screen share, like the screen grab, isn't great because you have to make sure that your screen is like completely empty. Maybe I can just, I don't know where to put this. Okay, anyways, that's okay. But it's just another tool that you can use to add onto your workflow. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? Has anyone tried this out yet? Does anyone have any issues with the screen grabbing component part? Yeah, this will be recorded. Yeah. So I think to close out, I just want to reiterate that real-time AI is a direction to me where you can really be involved with the creation process and you can learn a lot about what you make. I think about it a lot like Touch Designer in the sense of when you are learning, you can see your changes in real time. And I think that this is really important because this is a good way to create your own understanding of tools and, make the best out of everything that you generate, right? Like you're being very involved and you can actually master a tool like this and it could help your workflow out in ways that you might not have expected. Like you can experiment and you can like stumble onto happy little accidents and remember those as your own little style. So I really highly encourage you guys to explore possible workflows with Daydream and Touch Designer using the tools that I showed off today. Hopefully you guys can dissect my Touch Designer file and really go through it. And if you ever have any questions, just shoot them in the Discord and I can help you out. We really want to see, or I really want to see people use my creation in their own creative ways. And that doesn't just mean, like taking like a little bit of it. Like you can just like take small techniques, but like all of this is to add onto your toolkit of being able to create cool things and really experiment. So yeah, interactive art projects are definitely one of the like top things that people use Stream Diffusion for. So yeah, definitely check out our socials. Our Discord definitely has a lot of creators already making things. I'm going to be there sharing my creations. There's a lot that you can put in, and this is like only the beginning. Ideally, like what I'm trying to do here is really teach you guys all of the tools that you can create, like use within an AI workflow. Today we went through a few, but I would say the biggest ones were like MediaPipe, as well as as well as NDI out, right? Those two are really great tutorials. And if you want to learn more about Stream Diffusion, if you want to learn more about Stream Diffusion and MediaPipe, I also just released a tutorial with Daydream and Immersive HQ, which is a touch designer like platform, but it's this one right here. And here you can essentially learn how to get your body data, which is really fun. And you can make an entire skeleton of yourself. Let me find it. Like right there. So you got a little skeleton of yourself of a bunch of flowers, and you can put that into Daydream as well, like so. So check it out. Really learn. Try to like experiment, try to learn, and share. The Daydream is a great place to do that. And I'm excited to see what everyone can come up with. Yeah, you can do it with an Xbox Connect. But if you... So yeah, you can do that with an Xbox Connect. I think it would be kind of the same idea. You just need the joint data. But you also don't need an Xbox Connect because Xbox Connects are kind of hard to buy. They're hard to find, honestly, nowadays. But yeah. Okay. That's all for me. There's no other questions. Thank you so much for participating. And I hope to see you guys in the next few workshops. I'll be releasing more Touch Designer files and, teaching, helping out, answering your questions. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.